Yes, any more questions here?
Here fault means horizontal and availability means vertical, right?
Not really. Again, I'm just giving an imaginary diagram. Again, if you look at the documentation out here, go into the availability sets. It just can be any, let's say, arrangement out here. Here, Microsoft is telling it is, let's say, vertical fault domain. It can be any arrangement. It's just a logical arrangement out here. So it's telling fault and update domains out here. So here, it is fault domain 1, fault domain 2, fault domain, let's say fault domain 0, fault domain 1, and fault domain 2. And in here, let's say if I just clear this out, in here, Microsoft is telling this is update domain 1, update domain 2, update domain 3. In this case, Microsoft is dividing this one into fault domains and this one into update domains. So it can be anything, can be any kind of a combination. I'm just giving you a very, I mean, this is a logical, let's say, division out there. It can be horizontal, it can be vertical. Yes, any questions still here? Mhm. It is something like ZRS. If you take it in availability zone, this is availability set, but there's a concept called availability zone, which we'll go into. Availability zone simply means that you have three different zones. One virtual machine can be running from this particular zone. The other virtual machine can be running from here. The other third virtual machine can be running here. Meaning, even if the entire data center is down, you have virtual machine 2 or virtual machine 3 that is helping you out. That is the concept of availability zone. We'll talk about that. But let's take questions on availability set and see how you can use the availability set out here. Yes, any more questions on
Is
availability
there any
set?
chance
What do you?
to is there any chance to the total zone will go down?
Is there any chance for the total zone to go down? Very less probability, but yes, there is a chance. That's the reason Microsoft never tells you that, you know what, I'll give you 100% availability out here. For example, even if you go to availability set, it should be around 99.95 availability. If you go for availability zone, then I think the availability is somewhere around 99.99 is what I know. Let's see, control F99 point. I think the availability zone is around 99.99 and they're not giving the number here. But the availability zone should be around 99.99% available. What if the entire zone goes down? Then that's a major event. Then you should have put your virtual machine in a different region altogether. Again, the responsibility of placing your virtual machine is on the user who creates the virtual machine or the company who creates the virtual machine out here. Yes, any questions? Any more questions here? Anyone? Any more questions here? So what I did is that I created the demo VM1, and this demo VM1 is sitting now inside an update domain called U0 and a fault domain called F0 out here. So because this is the fault domain, this is the fault domain for me, which is F0, and this is the update domain for me, which is U0 out here. So now this virtual machine is now placed in this particular, let's say, availability set called F0 and U0. Now what I'll do is I'll create one more virtual machine, because the concept of high availability itself tells you that you should have multiple machines that are sitting, let's say, in the same availability set, so that Microsoft can divert the traffic to the machines that are, let's say, available out there. And I'll go ahead and I'll say create a new machine, same configuration, everything is the same. I'll say this is demo RG, I'll say this is demo VM2. And very importantly, region should be East US2 only if you want to select that particular availability set. If it is not East US2, let's say it is West US2, and say you say availability set, do you see there is no availability set out here? But what if I say this East US2 availability set, and do you see it's not asking me to create a new one. It's telling me that, you know what, I see there's an availability set. Do you want to reuse it? I'll say yes, I want to reuse this. And let me go ahead, say test user, and I'll give password and everything out here. I'll allow the multiple ports here. I'll say disks, I'll say networking, disable everything out here and go ahead, review and create this out. What am I doing here is that same thing what we did in the last class, creating a virtual machine, but this time around I'm selecting an availability set while I'm creating a virtual machine out here, and I'll say create this out. So now I'm going ahead and creating this particular machine, and what Microsoft does right now is, let's see, it is using the same availability set. It's not recreating the availability set, it's using the same availability set, and it's creating your machine 2 inside the availability set, and it's trying to identify that which combination is the best. So where if I place the machine here, for example, Microsoft will now see a logic that, okay, fine, what if I place the machine here? What will happen here is that if I place it here, this machine, which is called demo VM2, this will now be called as F0U1. This is fault domain 0, update domain 1. Microsoft will now run a logic in the background telling, okay, fine, if I place it here, in that case, if this fault domain 0 is down, because the power source or everything that is attached to it can go down, both the servers cannot be available, which means both your machines won't be available. This is not the right combination. Microsoft says, okay, fine, let me try one more thing. Let me take this server, place it here, which is F1U0, because this is fault domain 1. Says this is F1 and U0, so this machine will now be called as F1U0. And again, Microsoft will run a logic is that in this case, if I am, let's say, talking about fault domain 0 not being available, this machine is not available, this machine is available. But at the same time, if I am doing an update, even this is down. The same time you had a power failure, at the time there was some update going around, even this machine will be down. So your application won't be available. Microsoft says, no, even this is not the right combination. Let me put it here, which is what? F1 U1. Now this machine will be called as F1 U1. Microsoft says, let me check this out. If fault domain 0 is down, at the same time I'm doing an update to U0, at least one machine will be available. There is going to be at least one machine that is going to be available for you in this entire, let's say, architecture. So that's the reason, if you look at your virtual machine creation back, if you go back to the virtual machine creation, I'll go into the resource group, I'll say availability set sample. Do you see where the machine got placed? F1U1, which is in our combination, this one. If I take a third server, meaning if I go and create a third machine, same configuration, same code, Microsoft will either place it here or here, any one of these things out here. So if I place it here, this machine will be called as F0U1. If I create a fourth machine, it will place it in F1U0 out here. So you have 4 machines that are running, and in the cases of disaster, there should be at least one machine that is available, is what the concept is. My question to you all is that, can I create a fifth machine in the same availability set? Can I take the fifth one? Multiple combinations, exactly, good. Multiple combinations, you can have multiple combinations, meaning I can place a second server again on U0, F0 again. But in this case, what will happen is that if F0 is down, you lose 3 servers out here, because you are running 3 different servers on 2 underlying physical servers as such, or 3 virtual machines under 2 servers out here is what you're running here. Again, you can have multiple combinations, and one availability set can accommodate a maximum of 100 virtual machines. 100 virtual machines can be running under a availability set out here. Yes, any questions still here? Anyone, any questions that I can take till here? Mhm. You can, again, data will not be data will not be lost, because data is stored in a disk separately. So if the machine goes down, you can take the data from the disk backup again. Yes, any questions still here? Anyone, any questions still here? Anyone, any questions that I can take till here on? Okay, if I create one more VM,
I
let's say
cannot.
this. Okay, just a second. You go ahead, please. Someone online has a question.
Yeah, actually, demo VM we created one and we created two also. Is the same data in one and two? You're telling me?
Can you please come again? Your voice is a little low.
We actually create demo VM one and demo VM two. Is there any
Yes.
data same on one and two?
Is there any data in VM1 and 2? No. As of now, no. I haven't put
No.
any data out here, which I need to do. There is no data that I
Yeah,
put in there.
you're telling me same data right now.
No, I did not attach it to the same data disk. The data disk is different. There are multiple data disks that got created. So if I look at this one, there are two different data disks. One for VM1, the other for VM2. They are not sharing a disk.
Okay.
So what if we create a VM3 is what the question was. So I'll go to the virtual machines again. To create a VM3, one thing that I have to keep in my mind is that it has to be in the same region, has to be in the same network. So I'll just go ahead, say VM3. I'll say this is demo VM3, and I'll say this is availability set again. Again, I cannot place a virtual machine after it is created into an availability set. This is something that I cannot do. I have to make sure to select this option here only. I'm saying availability set. I'll say AV set sample. Take this one. I'll say this is test user and some password here. Yeah, I did not type the password properly. Again, ports. I'll just open the ports out here. I'll say next disks, next networking, selecting the same network again. Management, disable this out and review and create this out. Now it will either choose this machine or this machine. These are the two machines that are available. These are the two machines that are occupied. So it will choose one amongst them, either F0U1 or F1U0. Probability is 50%. I am not too sure on what it will choose right now, because anything it chooses, it gets the same availability. In this case, anything you choose will have the same availability, same SLA. So Microsoft will randomly choose one of them. So let's create this out. And once you create this out, it will take about 2 or 3 minutes out there. Again, it will take the same availability set. I'm not changing the availability set sample out here. I have the same set out there. And in this same set, I'm now going ahead and I'm creating a new VM called VM3. Again, I can create 100 VMs out here. And again, all these things that I created today, demo VM1, demo VM2 into an availability set, everything can be approached using an ARM template. I don't have to manually come create all these things and all these things out there. I can go ahead, create an ARM template for 3 machines. So that's where I'm heading down to. Is that if we can create multiple machines, yesterday's assignment is that can we create multiple machines using an ARM template? Yes. If it's yes, can you create multiple machines using an ARM template into an availability set? That's the second, let's say, thing that I'm going on to. So I'm giving a series of assignments which I will give you, let's say, which meaning I will give you at a period of time, and by the end of the week I'll also give you the templates. For example, you have sent me an email yesterday telling that this is how it is, and I sent you in reply telling that, this is a sample template out here, you can look at that particular template. So what the intention out here is, first let you, when you try it out, Google it out, do whatever you want, go to the Microsoft documentation. So do Google, a lot of Google out here, because this is a training phase, this is a budding phase, right? So you'll need to understand what are your resources. How can you, write your template and all these things out. Do you want to go ahead, create in the portal, then extract the template? Not a problem. Go ahead, do that. Not a problem. Do you want to, let's say, go ahead, look at the documentations, create the template? It's your wish. Each and everyone has their own style. I don't want to break that style. I'll at the end give you an idea on how to go ahead and create things out there. So now it's created. Let me go into the demo RG. Let me go into the AV set sample, and now it is placed in 0 1 F0 U1 out here. So this is the server that got occupied. If you place a fourth machine, this is the only slot available. It will go ahead and take that F1 U0. If you place a fifth machine, it will reuse one of them. It will meaning this is the logic Microsoft is following. First machine is placed here, second machine is placed here, third machine is placed here, fourth machine is placed here, fifth machine will be placed here, sixth machine will be placed here, seventh machine will be placed here, eighth machine will be placed here. This is the combination in which Microsoft is going ahead and arranging things out. Again, there are a lot of things that actually go under, meaning, is the server healthy? Does the server have enough capacity? Because these are all shared servers, not only you, other tenants are also using the same servers. So does the server has capacity to take so many machines? A lot of factors Microsoft will run the algorithm in the background and choose a server, a suitable server that is available out there as such. Yes, any questions still here? So this is what I have. So let's understand this, okay? I have three different servers right now placed on an underlying availability set. So let me pick up a diagram for an availability set out here. So these three machines are running out of an availability set with a combination of 2 cross 2, 2 fault and 2 update domains out here. And now I'm telling that the same code, we'll deploy the same code out here. If this has IRCTC, this will also have IRCTC. Same code, same combination, same configuration, everything is the same. This will also have something called IRCTC out here. Now, just understand this out. If you go into your resource group, and if I group this by type, I have 3 NSGs created. I have also what? 3 public IPs created, one for each machine. So this is public IP1, this is IP2, this is IP3. All the 3 IPs, whether you hit public IP1 or hit public IP2 or public IP3, this public IP1 will take you to machine 1, give you IRCTC. Public IP2 will take you to machine 2, give you, sorry, 2 will take you to machine 2 and give you IRCTC, same website. Public IP3 will take you to machine 3, give you the same website again. This is the combination, or this is the arrangement that I have, one-to-one mapping. The question now is that if you were to give me, meaning let's say that you have created 3 machines, you have created the IIS website on top of it, you deployed your code, everything, you did everything out here. You have now 3 machines, 3 IPs. I'm coming to you and I'm telling, can you give me the IP for your website? Which of these 3 IPs, or which amongst these 3 IPs would you give me? Is it IP1, IP2, IP3? Which one would you give me out here? Because any IP you give me, I'll go to IRCTC only. So then which IP will you give me in this case? Sorry? All three? All 3 virtual machines are running. All 3 virtual machines are running. Everything is good. Everything is healthy till this point. All 3 virtual machines are running. Each and every virtual machine has its own IP. And each and every virtual machine has the same website hosted, irctc.co.in. You have created it in such a way, out of an availability set, so that if one goes down, the other can, let's say, help you out and all that stuff. So which IP will you now give me? Is it 1, 2, or 3? You can give anything. So let's say you give me IP1. You give me IP1 out here. So I'm using this IP called something like 20.x.x.x. You gave this IP not only to me, but the entire world. Because IRCT is now a global application. People across the world are booking tickets. So you're giving this IP address to everyone across the world. and everyone are reaching to this particular server, but because of some outage, this server goes unavailable. What do you do now then? Change the IP. Meaning you have to tell the entire world that, you know what, this is not the IP. Take this IP and let's say use that out. This is the issue that you have. Even though if you have an availability set, even though you created all these things out, the user will have a downtime if he hits the IP of a machine which is not available. This is the IP that you supplied to him. Then how do you do it? Then what do you exactly do here? That's where, sorry, availability set doesn't have an IP, meaning availability set is just a resource which doesn't really have its own IP address. It's just something which hosts your machine. It's just something which is a logical combination telling that, okay, fine, this is how I need my machines. That's it. It doesn't have an IP address. But what I'll do is I will not give the user the IP1, neither the IP2, neither the IP3. Rather, I'll get in one more device out here which is smart enough to understand how my machines are running, how to divert the traffic, which is now called as a load balancer. Load balancer will have its own IP address. This is the IP address that I'll give it to the user. What will this device do is very simply, just giving you an idea. I'll go in depth with this topic tomorrow. This device will divert the traffic or divert the request to the machines in an alternative fashion, meaning first request will go here, second request will go here, third request will go here, fourth will go here, fifth will go here, sixth will go here. This is called as round robin. Meaning alternatively divert your traffic to the available machines. In case this machine is down, you don't have to change this IP because this IP belongs to a load balancer. Load balancer will simply do this. Load balancer will just change its routing methodology, and if this machine is down, first request will go here, second request will go here, third request will go here, fourth request will go here. Load balancer will not even consider diverting the traffic to this particular machine. It is like understanding how your machines are running. If your machines are down, then it will divert your traffic to the list of available machines out here. And this is the concept that I want to get into on load balancing, and this covers your high availability. Whenever in an interview or in a real-time scenario, when we talk about high availability, we talk about the machines availability set or availability zone, and how do we manage that particular machine using a load balancer or a traffic manager or an application gateway or an Azure friend door, multiple things out here. So this is what we talk about on how do you load balance and all these things out there. So in tomorrow's session, what I'll do is today I just created the machines. Tomorrow I'll start configuring IIS on these machines, put some simple HTML page out there, and then configure something called as a load balancer, and then we'll test how the load balancer is working. This is what we are going to do in tomorrow's session out there. But before we close for today, any questions with availability set? Again, I'm just giving you an idea of what load balancing is. I'm not going inside the topic out there. We'll go in very depth of the topic, understand what are the components of the load balancer, how do you create the load balancer and all these things out there. But yes, any questions still here that I can take? Anyone, any questions still here? I'm sorry. Automation, I'm sorry. Hmm. You should tell me that. That's what I'm telling you, is that I'm giving you the assignments. By the end of the week, I'll give you the solution. But before that, if you ask me, then you should tell me the same thing out there. How to create the same thing and all these. Try it out. How to create and all that. Try it out again. If you want to try it out, just go ahead, create all these things out here, all the machines and everything. Go to the go to the resource group. If you go inside the resource group, just scroll down. There is something called export template. Here you'll get the ARM template for the entire thing that you did till now. So this ARM template, if you look at this one, is having network, let's say network security groups. It's having the public IP addresses. It's having your virtual networks, and finally it has the virtual machines and also the availability set out here. but this ARM template has a lot of noise, meaning it's not, let's say, truly automated. Azure is giving you some kind of an ARM template out here. You can take this as a reference and improve on top of it. You can understand how the template is getting created out there. So I just went inside the resource group, said export template. I'll get the entire template definition out here on what went in and all that stuff inside my resource group as such. But just take this as a reference. Do not take this as your original template. You have to do a lot of work on this particular template as such. But I will give you the solutions on how to create all these things using automation. Yes, any more questions here?
Yeah, Kiran, can you hear me?
Hmm. Yeah, I can hear you. Please go ahead.
So is there any other disadvantage to this availability set other than this?
Hmm. I didn't get you.
Like,
Can you come?
any other disadvantage to using availability sets? Like you said, it has different IPs and we have to distribute them among the users and all that.
Correct. So the disadvantage again, the disadvantage of using an availability set is the SLA that you get out here, meaning it's only 99.95. Meaning, if the entire data center were to go down, then the whole point of availability set doesn't really, let's say, come into picture, because availability set is like LRS, locally redundant. But yes, even if you go for an availability zone, you still have to use something like a load balancer to divert your traffic. So the disadvantage of the availability set and the advantage of the availability zone, I would say, is availability set is just, is just like LRS out here, only diverts your traffic within that particular data center. Availability zone is like ZRS, zone redundancy, meaning if one data center is down, the load balancer will divert the traffic into another data center as such. So this is one of the biggest disadvantages of having an availability set out here.
Okay, thanks.
Hi, Kiran.
Good, please. Good
Yeah,
point.
actually, we created virtual machine one.
Hmm.
We created virtual machine one, and we load the
Okay.
data into it. And
Okay.
that availability set by default it create a duplicate, or we have to create a duplicate
No, you have
virtual
to create
machine.
a duplicate. No, you have to create a duplicate. Everything that you're dealing with right now is called as an infrastructure as a service. IaaS. I didn't come to what infrastructure as a service is. This is all infrastructure as a service. This is your responsibility to make sure the data is replicated. Your responsibility to make sure all the machines are created and all these things out here. Any more questions here?
Thank you.
There are two VMs are allocated to one server, for example.
Two VMs are allocated to one underlying server. Yes, it can be possible.
On the time,
It
which
can,
VM will run?
both the VMs will run. Both the VMs will run under the same underlying server out here. See, underlying server is virtualized. The very first class, that's what I was telling, is that there is something called hypervisor on top of it. You can run multiple VMs on the same server out here. All the VMs will run. All the VMs will, let's say, be load balanced and etc. But the only issue with this is that if something happens to this server, all the VMs that are running on that particular server will be unavailable. Yes, any more questions? All right, so that's it from my end today, guys. Thank you. And please read this particular concept. And tomorrow we'll see what load balancing is and what really availability zone is and all those things. Thanks, guys. Have a good day ahead.